What happens when Cadillac decides to throw a 102 kilowatt size battery and 615 horsepower into a 3-row EV? Let's go find out. And welcome to Outsider Reviews. My name is Pat. I got my lovely wife Panna behind the camera, and I'm just a military vet that decided to do car reviews, and that's what I'm doing. I just tell you what I think of the vehicle. I'm not overall a specialist in any sense. That's why it's called Outsider Reviews. Like, subscribe, get on with the show, because this is why you're here. The 2026 Cadillac Vistiq. And right away, as soon as I got the specs for this vehicle, I was like, whoa. So we're talking dual motor, 615 horsepower. Did you hear me? 615 horsepower, 650 pounds-feet of torque. Are you kidding me? 0 to 60 under 4 seconds. Cadillac will tell you 3.7 seconds. Range, you need it, you got it. 305 miles of range. I love it when it's above that 300-mile threshold. I think that's what most people are looking for, and what that translates to in Canada is 491 kilometers of range. I will tell you what in real life you can expect as we go on with the video, but first and foremost, look at that face. That is a face that anybody can love. It's just a bigger version of the Optic Lyriq and smaller than the Escalade IQ, and that's where it fits, right? Lyriq, Escalade, Vistiq, right in the middle. And I'm surprised that they gave it that much horsepower and didn't do a V-Series kind of badge. I mean, maybe they will and do a V-Series and have it 700 plus horsepower. That would be amazing. But this is what you're looking at. This is the sport trim that we have today. Obviously, if you go up in trim, what you would get aesthetically wise is this would be body color instead of black, as well as the wheel fenders here. This would be black as well. As we're looking at the wheels, this is where I might be showing my personal bias, but the 21-inch wheels is the size I would go with. This is what I have with me today with the sport trim. As you go up, you can go 22, 23. I find that, yeah, I mean, it kind of maybe looks way more grandiose, but I think that this for comfort-wise is good. And because this is a sport, behind that, I do not have the air suspension, but I do have the adaptive dampers, continuously adaptive dampers. And I'm going to tell you when I take it on the road how that particularly feels. But one thing is, because this is over 6,000 pounds, over 6,200 pounds, the stopping distance is a concern right off the bat, because the sport trim, this particular trim, has a stopping distance from 70 miles an hour at 176 feet. That is, you need to increase that gap if you're going to need to stop really fast. So that's something to be cautioned with EVs, not just this one, but all EVs. They're heavier, they're harder to stop. Underneath the trunk, we have nothing, but there's so much room here. So this is where I was kind of like disappointed. I'm looking at this, I'm like, so much space. I mean, you could have had a front trunk. I mean, if you really tried, you could have, Cadillac. So what gives? So yeah, no front trunk, just a bunch of components, and they're open, and you can actually see, look, the wheel wells and everything. Yeah, it's a lot of space. Now let's close this. There you go. Go off to the side. We've looked at the wheels, but this is what I want to look at here. Charging port. So it is not quite equipped with NACS just yet, so we still have our CCS port. And one thing is, from the Cadillac Lyriq, if I remember correctly from that review, you have to press this button. And I like that they kind of made it over here. Another note is that motor, the way it opens, it is a lot better than what the Cadillac Lyriq has when it's sliding out. You can see it's not working as hard, and it's much easier. And I just like this because over here in Canada in the mountains, when it gets icy and snowy and stuff like that, I'm just not too sure how that would respond. So you just press this, and basically what you're doing is you're pressing the button that's behind there. And with CCS, charging rate is going to be 190 kilowatt charging speed. That's not mind-blowing. I would just say that's just average. I think like it would be like 10 to 80% would be around like 40 minutes if I had to guess. But on the pro side is I have less issue with this motorized charge report cover than I did with the Cadillac Lyriq. As we progress here, we obviously have 360-degree camera. So another thing is, if you go up in trims, what is those premium platinum, these become body colored as opposed to being black. So you do get quite a little bit more aesthetically pleasing feature as you go up in trim. Personally, I'm okay with the black. I don't see a reason to put up some more cash in there. But the handles, they pop out like this. And if you want to lock it, here's a look at the key fob here. One thing I love about General Motors key fobs is this. Yeah, you're like, okay, so it's a remote start stop button. What's the big deal about that? Well, a lot of manufacturers are now going with going through the app. And I don't like that. I like going with the key fob because I don't need to subscribe with my key fob. That being said, obviously power folding mirrors, and as you can see, the doors become completely flush, and when they sense the key arrive, they pop out. I'm just gonna force it right now, and they pop out like this. Not my favorite door handle. If you're gonna have door handles that is flush, I much prefer the design that is on the Equinox EV from Chevrolet. It just seems a little bit more sturdy. This is very thin, and I don't know, I'm afraid I'm gonna break this. On the side here, you see there's a little square, and that is for essentially using a key card or using the My Cadillac app. I have the My Cadillac app. I didn't see that as a feature. I kind of looked through it. Perhaps it's something they don't give us access to. If you're an owner or somebody that knows, comment below, please. I would appreciate if that square is essentially just to detect a phone and work as a key. Also, we have this, I think they call this the stairway design. Particularly, yeah, it looks kind of funky and futuristic. I'm just not the kind of person to get overly thrilled for that. And you'll notice I don't have the two-tone color on the sport trim, but that is something you can get with other trims, such as the Platinum Premium Luxury and all that stuff. And on top, we do have a full panoramic glass roof, as well as another slice of glass back here for the third row, which I'll show you once we go inside there. Swing it out back. Over here, you can see that how this could easily be mistaken for a Cadillac Escalade IQ. It's got that nice square design that you would expect from a three-row SUV, and you would get more body color if you were to go with, again, platinum and such. I like this. This is kind of cool. I can just open it with the key fob. I can open it by touching a button, or it's got approach. I have it turned off because they would have just opened in my face. It doesn't open in your face, but if you just stand back here, it automatically opens. I had it turned off so I could film, but as I push the button, gain entry. What that's going to open up is, with the seats up, 15 cubic feet of space, but let me just show you a very deep storage area. You can fit quite a bit in there. It's pretty deep, and that's, I guess, how you make up for not having a front trunk. Now, with the seats down here, you have 43 cubic feet of space. The way you can move the seats here, I'm just going to show you this little 12 volt. I don't know why they put 12 volts anymore. Just put regular outlets. You have the tech. Do it. But yeah, let's press this. Let's move them up. It's one touch. I didn't have to hold it that much, but essentially they move up 15 cubic feet of space. Boom, and let's drop it all. Oh no, my front seat is too far back, but that would essentially open up 80 cubic feet of space. As I gain access to the rear doors here, I love the metallic fabric, and of course we got a nice 8kg sound system that we start seeing speakers of. We're talking about 23 speakers throughout this vehicle, and I think we've got 2 here in the door. We got nice metallic handles. We got some storage as well for down below for water bottles and such. Now that if we get to the seats right here, I have a one-touch button in order to gain access to the third row. Touch the button, slide the seat forward, just like that. And another thing I like as a feature here, I have buttons on both sides. So if the seats were to be down, I could raise them from this area, which I like. I like being able to do it from the back and from there because it limits the walking back and forth. Now the big guy's going to try to get in. Safety first. Okay, flexibility is not there. I am a 5'9" individual, so we'll see how much leg room. Cadillac says 30.6 inches of leg room back here. It is a little bit on the low side. I mean, I think you're able to tell that from the video here. I'm sitting kind of low, and with myself having knee problems, this is going to be a problem to get back up. Let me put the headrest back up here, but I do have my own ventilation and USB-C over here. And this is the window we were talking about. That is cool. However, there's no shade and there's no button to do you know, those magnet shades that they have that throw the window opaque. So if it is kind of hot outside and there's a blaring sun, you don't have quite that to protect you. But what you do have is 5-zone HVAC controls. That's right. So the third row has its own controls that they don't physically have. That will be in the second row, and I'm going to show you that next. Okay, here we are in the second row. Now it's manually adjusted, and just like this. Now I put it all the way back, and I'm kind of disappointed because a non-luxury EV, that's 3-row, the Ioniq 9 from Hyundai, has a few extras that I would think that Cadillac, being a premium vehicle, should definitely have at the price point. They have a leg rest, and this is powered, so power recline, power remove, and all that stuff. But in this case, it's manual and manual recline. As I step in, easy stepping height, it's like 7 inches and plus, and I have 40 inches of leg room where the seat is pushed all the way to the back, as I showed you. Captain chair setup, armrest, pretty good. Seats comfortable. Again, I'm still 5'9", I haven't grown. I have plenty of headroom and a nice panoramic sunroof. The zone control that I was talking about, the climate zone control, is over here. So I can go to third row by clicking here and change the temperature there, or I can click second row and have my temperature change over there, as well as how I want it distributed. And I have my ambient light control. The cool thing about the ambient light control is I have a ambient light that's all the way up here. So having it in the door and everything, that's kind of standard. I think most manufacturers are doing that. Having it up here, pretty cool. It looks pretty cool at nighttime. And again, over here I have heated seats, but not ventilated. So I can touch a button, have my heat go on my seat, but it's not ventilated. And that is something that, again, I find the competition is offering. In my humble opinion, I just think they could have done more with the second row, and especially given that they have this screen to do all these controls, should have been pretty easy to implement. USB-Cs and 3-prong outlet over here, as well as cup holders. But all said and done, comfort level is very comfortable back here. I could do an infinite amount of hours of road trip back here because I can stretch my legs out. I am very comfortable. I got nice vents on the sides here, and the overall comfort is very good. Reclining is manual, as I mentioned. I can recline up. As far as this is pretty comfortable. Would have been more comfortable with a leg raise. I can take a little nap, but yeah, overall, I'm happy. I'm comfortable. Let's check out the front seat. Now, right away, as you step in, you'll realize that your seat functions are not down here. They are in the door. So you have your seat adjustment, your memory settings, number 1, number 2, and you have heated and ventilated front seat, as well as a massage function. All in all, it's 18-way seat adjustments for the front passenger. So that's quite a lot, quite enough. And then the second thing you're going to notice is that 33-inch screen, one big curved screen over here, digital gauge cluster. We can show quite a few different layouts over here. As I press this button over here, go layout. So you got gauge, you got energy, map, where it's going to go from Google Map, and then the driver assist. This is equipped with Super Cruise, as you can see over here, and it also has that version of Super Cruise where you can program a route via the built-in Google built-in interface, and then it'll know that which lanes that you need to go on. So that's something that I found cool and missing when Super Cruise got initially launched. So it's a hands-free driving function, and it'll change lanes if, let's say, the highway is split according to where your navigation is pointing. Really cool. I enjoyed that. Here's the thing I do not enjoy. As you're looking here at driver information cluster, this is your battery percentage. Now, it doesn't matter which kind of which kind of cluster I have, whether it's energy, it's over here. You'll notice that it's not going to give me a direct percentage. Now, I know this line is 50%. I just don't know what percentage I have. I know it's 272 kilometers, but these estimates are not the most accurate in my personal experience. So I hate that it's not just giving me a gauge where it's telling me, like in my Chevy Equinox, you have the 60% or 61%, or give me an actual number. And I messed around with settings and everything, as you can see here, and all the settings. It's not an option that I can see. Now, if you own this and you were able to find how to get the exact percentage, because even if I go over to charging function, it's telling me that, you know, that's just for charging if you want to adjust it to 100% and 80% and stuff, and if you want to find chargers. But I really could not find a way to get an accurate percentage unless I go through the app. So the My Cadillac application over here, I do have it on my phone. I installed it. So I can tell you, okay, it's 61%. Okay, 293 kilometers, that's 61. Okay, just dropped down to 57% because it's just synced now. So that's the way I can get the exact percentage of my battery. Ridiculous, in my opinion. But aside from that little rant, it's pretty nice screen, very nice quality, everything's crisp and it responds extremely well. So, but you do not have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as it is the rule for every General Motors EV. Cadillac is not the exception. You can just sync your phone with Bluetooth, play music that way, and run it off the native Google Maps, or download a map like Waze, like I have here. So that's the way you would do it. For your phone, though, you do have two wireless charging pad. Let me just remove my sunglasses here. And I like the dual charging pad, and my wife would obviously like that as well. And I do have two USB connection over here, kind of hard to see. And storage further down here. So storage is cool. Dual wireless charger, very cool as well. And then the HVAC control, you'll notice the complete absence of buttons. There's no buttons for HVAC. There is this little pad here where you control all three rows, including the front and the ventilation. And then you can also select what kind of massage you have over here, you know, in the position of the seats. So you can do a lot via this little screen. I haven't found this to be too much of an issue. It doesn't bother me too much at all. It's just some buttons would have been nice. Speaking of buttons, right here in back to the steering wheel, you'll notice you have like heated seats, drive control, music selection, everything that's there. And then you have this nice V power. That's what opens up the 650 pound-feet of torque and the 615 horsepower. So when you press that button, right away you get basically a sports mode. Because otherwise you have to go via the screen here and change the sports mode. I'm not a fan of that. I think there could have been room here for removing one of these buttons and put it into the drive mode. But the fact that I can just press V and have that V power, I like that. It's on the fly, it's quick. I don't have to go through the screen. I can appreciate that. Overall here, I do have my wheel for the screen here. Just another way of navigating. I prefer the touchscreen. It reacts very well, and you do have some shortcut buttons like your home button over here, and your music volume here is pretty appreciated. You press down if you want to mute it. That works pretty well. Cup holders, decent size with some bling around it, and the glove compartment is pretty deep with another USB-C connection in there. And I do have still the panoramic sunroof like I control here. I do have a shade that I can close at a touch of a button. Hazard lights are up here, so if you buy this vehicle, just know that your hazard lights are up here, just like all the other General Motors EVs that I've had. Overall, I think that having the HVAC controls on a pad here is better than just having to do everything via the screen. I do have also the mirror that's changed into a camera. That's typical. I mean, all the Cadillacs, I've had that for quite a while. What you'll notice that I don't have is the heads-up display, and that's because you gotta go a trim higher to get the heads-up that comes with this. But I find that the screen is high enough that I don't particularly feel the need for a heads-up display. But there it is. And you have auto park assist, and let's go into our camera views by putting it in reverse. So it's the kind of shifter that you pull towards you and you go down for drive, and you pull towards you and go up for reverse. That's going to reveal a 360 view, except for the door that's open is blacked out here. But overall, you got a nice view, crisp, clear, lots of different views to be seen from a hitch view as well, because this is capable of towing 5,000 pounds. Push down, and now it's in park. Overall, seat comfort is really good, and it's a little bit on the nice wider side, which makes it very appreciable for a guy my size. And now I am gonna take you for a drive. As we're about to drive, let's go into drive modes. Nope, not that one. This one. Added it to my shortcut. Touring, sport, snow, ice, my mode. So we're gonna go in sports mode. Engage. And we're gonna engage the V. Oh, you see, like it's not like the SS where something comes up with a obnoxious sound effect kind of noise. I much prefer that. I would also much prefer that once I kick it in sports mode, just give me all the juice, right? 615 horsepower, 650 pounds-feet of torque. I'm gonna do my own countdown because I'm by myself. 3, 2, 1, go! And we're there! Oh my God. This is ridiculously fast. Curving, I mean, yeah, you can kind of feel it's heavy, but not in the steering wheel. Steering wheel is very light. You just feel it overall. It's a heavier vehicle, but I do find that it still quite limits the amount of body roll I'm gonna get right here. Yeah, see, I'm not getting the body roll, but I am feeling that it's heavy, and there's just so much that there's only so far you can do as far as eliminating the feel of weight. Physics makes it that, you know what, your vehicle is 6,000 pounds, it's gonna feel like it's 6,000 pounds. But this is still a lot of fun to drive. Ultimate comfort expected from Cadillac. What I like is, because I'm a bigger person, not really vertically but horizontally, I tend to prefer General Motors product. Yeah, you're not gonna see that in any commercial. GM, we make bigger seats, but it just tends to be that way. I seem to find that some other manufacturers, they have that side bolstering, and for some reason I just end up sitting on those and it just feels uncomfortable. But the Cadillac and other GM product, that is not the case. That's why I bought my personal vehicle is an Equinox EV, and I absolutely love the comfort level of this. This is a whole different level of comfort, extremely plush on the seats. One thing that I appreciate is obviously Super Cruise, and I'll be going on the highway very soon, and merging is the fun part, because this is so fast. This is too fast, way too fast, but we're gonna tone it down here. Let's talk about how quiet this ride is, because I was obviously going at highway speeds there, but it's very, very quiet of a ride. It's very serene. The overall screens, the way it's laid out, I have the map function on my digital gauge, highly customizable. I like that. You don't have a heads-up display. You don't really need one. Screen is at I mean, if the heads-up display would probably be an inch higher. So this is perfect enough. And as far as utilizing all the commands while I'm driving, while it's very intuitive for me because I'm used to this kind of system, but I don't think it would take too long. The response of the HVAC is very good on that screen, even though I personally prefer, you know, knobs for temperature and fan speed and such, but, you know, gotta get with the times, I guess. One thing as I'm about to merging is not a problem and all stuff, but my visibility, I find, it could be because of my seating position. This B-pillar is quite thick, quite large, and I would have appreciated from Cadillac if they offered the turn signal blind spot camera to come on the dash. I would assume that from a premium vehicle like Cadillac, that would be a feature where you activate your turn signal and your blind spot comes up right here on the driver information cluster, and it does not have that. So yeah, the mirrors, I would have liked them to be bigger just because to represent this bigger vehicle. Yes, it does have 360-degree cameras, so parking is not so much of an issue. It is quite nimble for parking and such. I just would have liked to, you know, have either a bigger mirror or that blind spot camera as an option. I do have the camera over here that I can activate for the mirror. That's all fine and well, but yeah, that's one thing I would appreciate. But overall, noise, vibration, and harshness, nil, none of that. I've experienced no vibrations. I know some GM products have experienced some kind of vibration sound either in the vents and the screen, but everything feels really sturdy, really well built, that I'm not experiencing that as I'm driving here. And I am gonna take a couple more curves just to have fun with it. Obviously, gotta have fun when you're working, as if this is a real job. Here we go. So yeah, beware of your stopping distance with the Vistiq. It's not quite known for that. It's a heavier vehicle, and I'm gonna slow down because I'm about to merge, but I was already going at the highway speed, the flow of traffic here. So I'm gonna slow down to, let's slow down a little bit more. Slow down to 60. Get on the straight and narrow where this will shine. Whoop! Later. When we're going too fast already. So slowing it right down, and then let's activate the cruise control. So as soon as the green bar shows up, Super Cruise is activated, which means you can take your hands off the road, but not your eyes. Eyes have to keep going on the road, and it's going to initiate an automatic lane change right now. It senses the vehicle ahead of me is going slow and that there's room for me to merge, for me to go to the left lane, the passing lane. And after it passes, because it's obviously a transport truck passing another transport truck, could be a while. I hate it when they do that. Only to go, what, 2 kilometers an hour faster. That's my rant. Anyways, enough of that. Once we do pass this slow moving transport truck, and maybe the second slow moving transport truck, it will go back to the lane, to the right lane. Also, what I've noticed is when there is a merge, meaning there's a merge up ahead, people are going to merge on the highway, I'm already on the highway, it will sense these and just change lanes to the left like you would normally, just to let the people merge in. I find that was pretty cool. I noticed that in the last update over the summer, and I definitely appreciate that. Now we come to the end of the video, and I'm just going to give you my final thoughts on the Vistiq. It's a great piece of kit. I like it. Especially for me in Canada, because when I'm looking at the Lucid Gravity, when I'm looking at the Rivian R1S, those prices are nowhere near proportionate to what's being offered in the US. So over here, as far as a luxury SUV of this caliber, those are your options, along with perhaps the Volvo EX90, and I mean the BMW iX, not quite the same size, so I'm not really going that way. So I think that this becomes probably your best choice. I will note, however, that I'm a little bit disappointed that why is the interior lacking some features that non-luxury brand segment like Hyundai Ioniq 9 offers, like the leg extension, the powered controls for the second row passengers? I mean, I think that should have been incorporated. But as far as driving it, the range, I am quite pleased with it. The charging speeds, it's okay. I'm not going to throw a fit too much about it. But it's a lot of power, probably more so than the average person needs. But I'm not going to complain that we have it. And I'm not going to complain about how it's handling even without the air suspension. I know some people kind of might mention it, that, oh, definitely go for the air suspension. I've had no issues driving around the mountain roads that we have here on the highway. The Super Cruise does a fantastic job. Still my preferred level 2 driving assist system. I love it. It makes it easy for long road trips. But these are my perspectives. You guys get to say what you like about this vehicle, what you don't like about this video as a whole. Comment below, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, time out. So I said something at the beginning of the video, and now as I just finished editing the video, I realized I messed up, guys. So I told you at the beginning of the video, I'd tell you what real world range are for the Vistiq, and I realized after editing it, I don't actually in the video. So here we are at Outsider headquarters, and you know, if I'm in the studio cutting into a review, then I messed up. So we know that the range is 491 kilometers for 305 miles. However, there was an independent study by Edmunds, and basically what they found that he could get is 334 miles of range and 538 kilometers. So obviously, that is not in very cold temperatures like we're having right now here in northern Quebec in the fall. So the heater's not working, but you know, favorable condition, but it's still quite refreshing that a manufacturer give us a vehicle that you can actually attain the range, an EV that you can actually attain the range, considering that, well, all these years, one of the best options was Tesla, and they would tell you you can get like 400 miles, and truth be told, it was more around 300, and you always, disappointed, and then they would create a, then they would tell you that basically it's because you're driving. Anyways, I think it's refreshing that some EVs now are actually surpassing what is being advertised, and I love it. Thank you again for watching the review, and don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Bye.